The crystalline observation deck of the Nexus station hummed with anticipation as representatives from dozens of species gathered to witness what they assumed would be a spectacular display of galactic military might. Admiral Lyra of the Elven Dominion adjusted her flowing silver robes, her pointed ears twitching with barely concealed amusement as she peered through the transparent aluminum viewing port. "Look at those pathetic vessels," she whispered to her aide, gesturing toward the approaching fleet with an elegant hand. 12 ships? The Terrans send 12 ships to respond to our challenge? Beside her, General Vex of the Altarian Republic clicked her mandibles in what passed for laughter among her insectoid species. Her compound eyes reflected the distant starlight as she observed the human fleet through advanced optical sensors. "My scouts report their largest vessel measures barely 800 meters in length. Our dreadnoughts are 5 times that size." The 2 military leaders had orchestrated this gathering as a demonstration to the younger species of the galaxy. Humanity had recently joined the Galactic Council, making bold claims about their defensive capabilities and military prowess. The established powers found such assertions laughable from a species that had only achieved faster-than-light travel within the last century. "Perhaps we should have brought recording equipment," Lyra mused, her violet eyes sparkling with mirth. The other council members would enjoy watching the humans retreat once they realized the magnitude of their error. The human fleet maintained perfect formation as it approached the designated testing zone, a region of space cleared of all civilian traffic for this demonstration. Each vessel appeared remarkably similar in design, with clean lines and minimal external weaponry visible to the assembled observers. Commander Jessica Torres stood on the bridge of the lead human vessel, the U-East Determination. Her crew worked quietly at their stations, their movements precise and economical. Unlike the elaborate displays of other species' military vessels, the human bridge was utilitarian, focused entirely on function over form. "Admiral Lyra is hailing." "U.S.," reported Lieutenant Amy Walsh from the communications station. "Put her through," Torres replied, smoothing her regulation uniform. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the elegant features of the Elven Admiral. Behind her, dozens of alien representatives crowded the observation deck, their various appendages, tentacles, and limbs gesturing toward the human fleet with obvious disdain. "Commander Torres," Lyra began, her voice carrying the condescending tone typically reserved for children. "Surely you realize that 12 vessels constitute an insufficient force for this demonstration. Perhaps you would prefer to return to Earth and gather additional ships." Torres maintained her professional demeanor, despite the barely concealed laughter echoing from the alien observers. "Thank you for your concern, Admiral, but we believe our current complement will prove adequate for today's exercise." General Vex leaned into the holographic field, her chitinous features creating an imposing silhouette. "The testing parameters call for engaging automated defense platforms designed to simulate a full-scale invasion force. Each platform possesses firepower equivalent to a heavy cruiser. Are you certain you wish to proceed with such limited numbers?" "We appreciate the warning, General," Torres responded calmly. "However, we are prepared to begin whenever you give the authorization." The assembled aliens exchanged glances that clearly communicated their shared opinion of human foolishness. Several species began placing wagers on how quickly the tiny human fleet would be forced to withdraw. "Admiral," Lyra shrugged elegantly. "Very well. Let the record show that the humans proceeded despite receiving adequate warning about the challenges they would face." The transmission ended, and Torres turned to her tactical officer. "Lieutenant Rebecca Hall, are all vessels ready?" "All ships report green across all systems, Commander," Hall replied. "The fleet is prepared for Pattern 7 engagement." "Initiate on my mark," Torres announced over the fleet communication channel. "Remember, we represent not just Earth, but..." the potential for humanity's future in this galaxy. Show them what we're capable of. The automated defense platforms activated simultaneously, emerging from concealment behind a cluster of asteroids. Massive constructs bristling with energy weapons. And missile launchers began their programmed assault pattern. The aliens watching from the station leaned forward eagerly, expecting to witness the swift destruction or retreat of the overconfident human force. Instead, something extraordinary occurred. The 12 human vessels seemed to dissolve into component parts, each ship splitting into multiple smaller craft that moved with impossible coordination. What had appeared to be 12 ships suddenly became 60, then 120 distinct combat units, each one maneuvering with precision that defied conventional tactical doctrine. Impossible, breathed Admiral Lyra, her composed facade cracking as she watched the display. Those ships are modular. General Vex's compound eyes tracked the rapidly expanding human formation with growing alarm. They're not just modular, they're networked. Each component is sharing targeting data with every other unit in real time. The human fleet had transformed from a traditional formation into something resembling a living organism. Individual components, weaved between defensive fire with choreographed precision, while others provided covering fire and electronic warfare support. The automated platforms, designed to engage conventional fleets, found themselves overwhelmed by targets that appeared and disappeared faster than their tracking systems could compensate. Commander Torres watched the tactical display with satisfaction, as her distributed fleet systematically dismantled the defensive network. Each modular component of her vessels served a specific purpose. Some carried heavy weapons, others specialized in electronic countermeasures, and still others provided rapid repair and resupply capabilities for their sister units. The platforms are attempting to adapt their targeting protocols, reported Lieutenant Hall. They're trying to focus fire on our primary command modules. Initiate shell game protocol, Torres ordered. Throughout the human fleet, command functions began rotating between different modules every few seconds. The platform's attempt to eliminate command vessels became futile as leadership seamlessly transferred from unit to unit, maintaining perfect coordination despite the constant reshuffling of authority. On the observation deck, the gathered aliens watched in stunned silence as the final defensive platform exploded in a brilliant flash of plasma. The human fleet had completed the exercise in less than half the projected time, suffering 0 casualties and minimal damage to their distributed units. "How?" whispered Admiral Lyra, her voice barely audible above the ambient station noise. "General." Vex slowly turned to face her elven counterpart, her mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "We assumed they thought like us, that bigger meant stronger, that more ships meant greater power. We never considered that they might have developed an entirely different approach to warfare." The human fleet began reassembling itself, individual components docking and integrating back into their larger configurations. Within minutes, 12 vessels once again maintained perfect formation, as if the devastating display of distributed combat had never occurred. Torres appeared on the communication display, her expression unchanged despite the magnitude of what her fleet had just accomplished. "Admiral Lyra, General Vex, the demonstration is complete. We await your assessment of our performance." The two military leaders exchanged glances, finally understanding that they had severely underestimated not just human capability, but human ingenuity. The tiny fleet had revealed a fundamental shift in how warfare might be conducted, not through overwhelming force, but through adaptive strategy and technological innovation. "Performance assessment," Admiral Lyra said slowly, "is satisfactory." But privately, both leaders realized they had just witnessed the emergence of a species that would reshape the galactic balance of power through sheer human determination and creativity.